Hi guys, and welcome to the fourth episode of Team Talk. I'm back today, this time with Sam from the first episode.
Hello, everyone.
Nice. But hopefully, eventually, in the future, we'll have Sam and Frim and myself all together in most of the episodes. But either way, as long as there's at least two of us, then we've got a good conversation going. Today's episode, we're going to do it on sort of players, but mainly the positions that we think each team in the Premier League needs to improve on. I think the best way to do this is to split it into four separate videos. And in today's video, we're going to be basing it on Manchester City, West Ham, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, and Burnley as the five teams for this video. And hopefully, we'll be able to identify which position we think they need to improve on, and potentially a player that they could do with to improve that position. So, Sam, I think the first team we're going to go for is the current league leaders, Manchester City. So, which position do you think they really need to improve on the most?
It's a very hard start because you think at the moment they've got so much depth and so much talent in every single position that they have at the moment. Um, for me, I probably have to say a striker. Only reason why is because obviously Aguero, he's quite injury prone at the moment, and I don't think Jesus is a striker that will constantly keep banging in 30 goals a season. So I think they need to improve their striking options, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's definitely understandable. I mean, it's weird really with City because I think they've kind of gotten away with it this season because they've played sort of Sterling, Rory, and Aguero has been there for about two games maybe. Like Mahrez, Foden, and obviously Jesus played quite a few games as well, and they've kind of just gotten away with it because of the sort of talent all across the team. But yeah, I mean, I do think Jesus is good, but I guess like you said, is he that sort of level of player that's going to help them sort of win the Champions League? I mean, obviously the league maybe yes, but when it comes to those tight Champions League matches, when you're playing against sort of world class defenses, maybe he's not at that sort of level. Do you have anyone in mind who potentially you think they could do or maybe improve on?
That's a mm, Do you know what I rate a lot? And is it Martinez from Inter Milan at the moment? I think he'll suit their sort of style of play. He's quick. He likes to get into the box. He can shoot outside the box. He can do the 6 yard tap ins. Um, I think he'll be fantastic. And obviously, he'll be able to just follow the suits of Aguero. I reckon they're both Argentinian. It'd be definitely a good signing for Man City if they did do that.
I think it's quite a good suggestion, to be fair. I think whoever they sign, they need to sign someone who's sort of quite nimble and good on the ball and can sort of move around the pitch. Like you don't really want someone who's going to have to stand in the box and can't sort of move around the pitch, because I think that's what they do really well and why it works when they
Yeah,
sort of play someone like Foden up front. Not because he's a great striker, but just because they can all kind of rotate into different positions. I mean,
I think that's just worked for them so well this season that they've had players to be able to rotate because they've got such amount of talent that you can put the likes of Bernardo Silva and Riyad Mahrez up top because they can push out wide and they can all like rotate in positions. But they definitely can't have City need someone to be able to rotate, not someone who's going to stand in the box, wait for a cross like someone like Giroud. They don't need a player like that. They need someone who can move about.
get involved.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I mean, the position that I thought as well, I guess probably the only other one that you can probably even bring up when it comes to Man City was a left back. Um, I don't know necessarily if it's like a major cause of concern for them, but I just feel like, unfortunately, with the sort of signing of Benjamin Mendy, he hasn't really gone that to plan. I mean, I don't think he's a bad player. I
yeah,
just think he doesn't seem that interested a lot of the time, and he also struggles to stay fit, which I think gets frustrating after a while. And I think maybe a team like Man City could go and splash a bit of money on that position to try and get someone who's probably better anyway and isn't injured all the time. I mean, Zinchenko's done well to fill in, but again, in there's certain matches where just having someone fill in might be the reason that you lose a close sort of Champions League game or a title deciding match. I think the player that I was thinking of, I mean, I think maybe it's a bit late based on him moving last summer, but I'm sure if Man City really wanted him, they could probably get him, and that would be Reguilon from Tottenham. I think
Yeah, he's a good player.
I don't know how much they'd ask for him, and it'd probably be a lot, but I feel like if they wanted him, they could go and get him, and I think he's the sort of player who would offer them sort of the dynamic um, attacking option on the left that they've sort of missed with sort of Zinchenko and Mendy, but also give him quite sort of a sturdy defensive option as well, because he's quite good. He's quite good both going forward and going backwards, which might sort of suit Pep's sort of system. I mean, another one I thought of maybe as well, because I think his contract's up in the summer, is Bernat from PSG. But again, he's just been injured quite a long time, so I don't know if it's worth going for someone like that, even if it's on a free, just because you don't want another player sitting around injured all the time. So I think Reguilon would be quite a good signing, but I do agree that maybe striker as well. And if they go out, I don't know what they're going to do in the Champions League this season. They're probably going to win the league, like you said, but if they go and sign a striker and a left back, then they're probably going to clean sweep the league again next season.
We always said that about Liverpool this season, didn't we? And look what's happening.
True, but then I guess the difference with Liverpool is Liverpool were a team where their first 11 was so much better than everyone else's, but like their squad wasn't. Like they even like last season, you go, who was the backup right back, youth player, or they didn't have one. Left back again, youth player, or didn't have one. Centre backs was like they had Matip and that was it, and like Lovren, I guess they don't have a good backup keeper. Their midfield options are all right, and then they didn't have anyone else up front. It was just the front three, but they all stayed fit. And this season it hasn't happened, and you've seen the drop off. Whereas with Man City, I think they get
They've always
injuries.
had the squad, haven't they?
Yeah, like they've like De Bruyne, Aguero, sort of Stones, people like that. Kyle Walker have all had injuries, and they haven't really looked that much worse. So
Talking about left back, I don't know if you think about. Apparently, he come out and said he's not too happy at Madrid. That Mendy.
Oh
Is
yeah,
it
he's a great player.
Furlong Mendy? I can't pronounce
Yeah.
first name, but he's young. He's obviously come out. He's sort of just like come out of the blue. Like he wasn't a name at all recently. Now he's become quite a well-known name. So that could be another option for Man City.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion. I mean, I'd be interested to see if Madrid would sell him, because their only other option to Marcelo, who's probably going to leave soon. But I mean, it's definitely worth looking into if it was possible for them to get him.
Yeah,
But,
I think he's come out and said that he's not happy either at Madrid. So
well, if that's the case, then you never know, especially in football, when money talks as well. But the next team on the list, based on sort of how I worked out the groups, is West Ham. When I sort of looked at West Ham's team, I feel like it's a lot harder judging the team. I feel like who's maybe player quality. Obviously, I know our team's been poor this season. Obviously, with like Arsenal, you look at Man City and you think all their players are probably either as good or better than ours in every position. And when you look at like West Ham, you look at some of their players and think, oh, that they're not as good as they could be improved on. But then you think that's expected, but it's where they've got like a real lack of quality in a certain position. And I felt personally that a good option for them would be to try and look at getting another centre back in the summer. I don't think like sort of Craig Dawson's been that bad, but I feel like with West Ham they maybe want to be looking into that sort of position to improve, because Ogbonna's looked great, and if they were to get a top centre back to go alongside him, then that might again give them that next level ability to sort of grind out those results in some of the games against the bigger teams where maybe they've struggled a little bit this season. Because I know, like, although they've done well against a lot of the smaller teams, they've lost to Arsenal, they've lost to Liverpool, they've lost to Chelsea. So I think maybe a centre back, and I think based on where they're going to probably going to finish this season, potentially they could look at getting someone like a Lewis Dunk from Brighton. I mean, it probably costs a lot, but it might be worth spending all their sort of transfer budget in summer on someone like that. Don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, it's a good suggestion. But then you think they got Valbuena, they got Diop. I think Diop's a brilliant centre back. Obviously, he's had that big injury, as I've said, time. And Craig Dawson was definitely an odd signing, but he's definitely proved that it's been a useful signing. Everyone didn't expect him to be as good as he has been, if that makes sense. He's been good, like keeping clean sheets. He's been scoring goals. Ogbonna, he's getting on age wise. So definitely, centre back. For me, improvement wise, it's got to be goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Fabianski, as I would say, but Fabianski, he's a good goalkeeper. He's been very consistent for years now. Obviously, he's improved in the last few years, but replacement wise, Randolph not good enough. David Martin not good enough. I do think they need to invest in the goalkeeper. Yeah, that would be the two centre mids that have been absolutely fantastic this season. Brilliant partnership. It's hard to say a better partnership at the moment, to be fair. Striker could be another one.
Yeah,
Antonio is good,
I do think.
but they do need a replacement because he is very injury prone with his hamstrings because he's so explosive and just such a big player. His hamstrings are always going to constantly go.
We know someone else like that.
Yeah, exactly. But goalkeeper wise, I think goalkeeper or striker for me. I think centre backs they have got options more than their strikers and goalkeepers.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I think like you said, maybe Fabianski, he is a solid keeper, but I think again, it's another one of those positions where you look at and think, yeah, for like a mid-table team, he's not too bad, but maybe if they really want to sort of step up, he's probably not that great. And if you compare him to some of the other keepers in the Premier League, so they could probably, like you said, maybe try and stick a bid in for like a Nick Pope from Burnley,
Yeah,
or someone who's a massive upgrade on someone like Fabianski, who's, like I said, he's decent, but he's not that top level of a goalkeeper. And then again,
Dean Henderson.
Yep.
Dean Henderson. Why? I don't get why he's not playing.
Yeah, I mean, I've started. Well, I say I've started. I say I haven't rated him. I don't think De Gea is anywhere near as good as a lot of people think he is, and so I don't think Man United would let Henderson go. But if the right bid comes in, then maybe they will, and maybe West Ham's that team that can take advantage of it and get Henderson on maybe a cheap deal, and have a good goalkeeper for another 15 odd years.
Yeah, he's young, very young as well.
He's only like 22, which is ridiculous for a keeper to be that good at that age. Another one I thought was a sort of denier from Leon, who's a decent centre back. I don't know how old he is, but could be another option. But I think as well with a team like West Ham, it's always that thing of whether like a Soucek or Rice gets bought in the summer for big money, and whether they have to kind of rejig the squad because of something like that. But we have to wait and see until that. The third team on the list that I've got is Aston Villa, a team who I think surprised virtually everyone this season because they were so bad last season and they should have been relegated because of that dodgy goal line technology decision that relegated Bournemouth and kept them up. But they've been really good this season, so it's obviously been harder to find positions that maybe they could improve on. But I thought maybe the two things I was potentially thinking about is either left back or another winger. I know Traore's played all right recently, but there's a player called Milo Rashica who plays in the Bundesliga for Werder Bremen, who I think he's only like 23, and in the not this season he hasn't done too well, but the two previous seasons he's got 13 and 14 goals and assists from left wing for a team that's sort of come in the middle of the table. And I think because of the fact that he's not been as good this season, they might be able to get him for quite like a decent price. And I think adding that extra option for a winger who's going to sort of guarantee you goals and assists and be dangerous against all sort of levels of opposition, I think that could bring Villa up another level. in regards to left back, I mean, I don't think Matt Targett's a bad player. I just feel like out of all like their other players, maybe he's the lowest level in quality in their sort of main starting 11. I don't know what position maybe you think they could do the best on improving in their sort of first 11.
I was definitely thinking left back. That's what I wrote down. I think Matt Targett's done really well this season, but the recruitment they've done this season has been fantastic. Obviously, or Martinez, like, I think you can agree with me, is absolutely horrible to see him leave. He was phenomenal for us for the last part of the season, last season.
Yeah.
And also Ollie Watkins, he's been a fantastic
unreal.
signing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ross Barkley's done well from Douglas Luiz, obviously had last season as well on loan. He's done well. So Matty Cash, another fantastic signing. But yeah, I think left back, you could potentially say striker, because obviously if Ollie Watkins does get injured,
They don't have anyone
who have
else.
they got?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas wingers, you think they've got El Ghazi, Trezeguet, Traore, Grealish. You got four options there. Whereas striker and left back, I can't think of another left back for Villa, and also I can't think of another striker.
Yeah, I think
You got Wesley, but I think he's injured as well.
I think that Rashika that I suggested, he's one of those people who plays sort of either up front or like on the left wing.
Yeah.
So he's a sort of person who could easily play like right wing when Watkins is fit. But then if he was to get injured, he could easily slot in up front, and they could bring in Traore or El Ghazi, and he could sort of play that up striker role, which I think is sort of player Aston Villa could do with someone who, like you said, could be a backup striker if they need him, but can also slot into the starting 11 behind Watkins in that sort of three attackers, which I think could be quite good for them. I mean, yeah, I think left back as well, potentially. I don't really know who to suggest, because they're at sort of a weird level where they'd want an improvement, but I don't know where they'd potentially look for that. I think the frustrating thing with someone like Villa is the fact they signed Cash and Watkins from the Championship last summer, and both of them two look like sort of players that I'd happily have at Arsenal.
Yeah.
Which is sort of shows that there's definitely players to be had in the Championship, and if you can get them at sort of the right time for the right team, then they're more than ready to sort of set the Premier League on fire, not just come to sort of sit around and be just a Premier League player, but be a top Premier League player.
Do you think
Karen?
Rangers, is it Tavernier?
Yeah.
Do you reckon he's too big for Villa, or?
I don't think so, but
that'd be. I don't think you reckon he would go to a bigger club, maybe like a top 6 club.
I think the thing with him is he's a right back, so I don't think Villa would sign him because they've got Cash, and I think he's like 29. So I don't know whether like a bigger team would want to take that risk on him, because I know he takes a lot of penalties as well. But he does like a really good player, and it might be the sort of player who probably deserves one last shot at the big time in the Prem. But I don't know where that opportunity comes. Maybe at Everton, because they don't have a right back. I know they've got Coleman's their captain, but he's sort of 33 now. They play with Mason Holgate there a lot, so maybe they could get Tavernier. Maybe Spurs, because you never really know who's playing right back for them, because is it Aurier or is Doherty? I know they've got two, but neither of them seem to nail down the place. And I guess you could say Arsenal, but it depends how much he's going to cost and whether Arteta fancies him. I don't know. But I think he probably deserves his chance, but it's whether he'll get it or not, I don't know.
I agree.
So then the next team on our list is Crystal Palace. I think they're quite a hard one for this question, in the opposite way to sort of a team like Man City is, because I feel like they could really improve in a lot of positions. And that's not like an insult towards all their players, because I know they have got some good players. Like their keeper, I think, is really good. And I do really like Eze, and Zaha's a great player. But I think anywhere else you could probably make a suggestion for an improvement. But I went for central midfield that I think they could potentially upgrade. And I thought maybe an interesting suggestion might be, because they're going to probably go down, Sander Berge from Sheffield United. As I know, they picked him up for quite a big fee, but they're probably going to want to get rid of him because he's probably on a big wage, and they know they can get a bit of money for him. And he doesn't play all that often anyway, so it's not worth him sitting around doing nothing. So they'll probably want to shift him on in the summer. But I do think he's a good player who could probably add sort of a bit of dynamism to Palace's midfield, which is sort of getting quite sort of stale and slow. So I don't know if you agree, maybe centre middle, or whether you've got a different suggestion for a different position you think Palace could improve on.
I think, like you said, Palace is hard to because they've got so many different options where they can improve. I think centre mid they've got a lot of different players. They've got a few McCarthy, Milivojevic. Is it that there's another centre mid they got? So I think centre mid wise they've got a good amount of options. Fullback wise, I think they can improve in that. Van Olden is like 30 odd now. Actually, you've got Mitchell, who's quite young. Joe Ward is very loyal, but I think they can definitely improve in that area. Striker, I think definitely need to improve on. Benteke's been, I think he's scored like 8 goals since he's been at Palace. I think it's not.
They signed some guy from the Bundesliga, or I don't know if he's on loan or permanent, but I don't know if he's even played yet. But it's like Mateta or Mateta. It might be even something else, but it starts with an M. And I think he'd had quite a good season in the Bundesliga, but I haven't heard his name mentioned since he's been at Palace. So obviously he kind of scored yet. But that might be interesting to see whether he sort of sets the world on fire or whether he's just as bad as Benteke.
Yeah, and then you got Ayew as well. He's not clinical enough. Batshuayi, he needs to. Obviously, I don't know why they've loaned him out again. Have they still got Max Meyer?
No, they released him because
I thought so.
Wasn't playing at all, and wages are way too high.
But yeah, no, I think definitely a striker or a fullback, in my opinion.
I mean, that's the thing with Palace. I mean, the fact that I definitely agree with you. I think they definitely, if that Mateta doesn't sort of do that well, then they'll definitely need a striker. They could probably do with a left mid, maybe as well, because I know that I think Townsend's not a bad player, wherever Townsend plays, but he's not necessarily like a constant producer of goals and assists. And like you said, I think left back, if they keep Mitchell, then that side will be fine. Centre back, they could probably improve on. Right back, they could probably improve on. I think they'd do quite well actually to do sort of what Aston Villa done and have a real good look in the Championship and see if there's any players who they can probably get from like sort of 10 million or under, who will add sort of that dynamism to the side. Because I think they've got players who are okay, but maybe they could get a few players who've got like a bit more of an engine on them who can boost their performances to a sort of new like athletic level, which maybe they don't have at the moment from players like you said, like Joel Ward, James McCarthy, Milivojevic, players like that who are good but don't have that sort of engine on them anymore because they're in their 30s.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, they've got a lot of players they could potentially look into and look at for a decent fee in the Championship, and it's just seeing who they end up going for. The last side, again, sort of in the sort of similar vein to Palace, is Burnley. I think Burnley have got quite a decent side, but they've also got a few positions that you think they could easily improve on as well. Like, I'd really think Pope's such a great keeper, and if they manage to keep him again, that'd be great. Both their centre-backs are really, really good. And they've got sort of McNeil, who's a good player, but I think they also could do with players like you said, Palace. I think right back and left back, they could probably do with a bit of an improvement there. And maybe based on this season anyway, they could probably do with another striker. I think potentially another one which would be quite interesting is maybe Ivan Toney, who plays at Brentford. He's been quite good in the Championship. Again, I don't know how much they charge for him, because if it's going to be like Watkins money, then they're not going to pay that, because Burnley never pay that much money for anyone. But another interesting one they could do for next season, which isn't a buy, but it is a loan, is potentially look at trying to get Eddie Nketiah on loan from Arsenal. I don't know if... Well, they might even buy him, because I think Nketiah's contract's only got a year left, and they might be able to get him off Arsenal for sort of a 10 million, 12 million type fee, because Arsenal want to get rid of him before his contract runs out. I don't know if you sort of feel like that's a good suggestion, or whether you think they could sort of do better by improving elsewhere.
So yeah, for me, I found Burnley as hard as City to pick for someone, because Burnley have such a certain style of play.
Yeah.
Trying to find someone that can fit that style is so hard nowadays, because obviously players like to be flamboyant now. They like to show their skill, and someone who to literally just graft for 90 minutes and just put their bodies in front of the ball constantly. It's not, you don't see it anymore. They're such an old-fashioned style team, which is it's such a good, and I'd hate to see them go down, because it's so refreshing to be able to see that sort of style in the Premier League.
Yeah.
For me, like, I would agree about Pope. I think it's fantastic. Centre backs are really good. So got that Kevin Long as well. Fullbacks, I think it's quite hard. I think Loughton and Charlie Taylor, they do such a fantastic job of getting constantly up and down and always making challenges all the time. You've got Eric Peters as well. Bardsley, I don't know if he's still there.
I think he is.
So they've got a few options. Centre mid, Westwood. I think he's done such a phenomenal job for Burnley. He's so consistent. Definitely, I think maybe a partnership in the centre mid could help out. See, Brownhill, he was meant to be originally a winger, and to put him in centre mid, and he's done really well, to be fair. But I think they do need another centre mid. Strike and falls. Yeah, they definitely could do with someone different. Eddie Nketiah definitely could be a good option. I think Vidra is awful. I don't know why they keep putting him on. I think it's horrendous. The amount of chances he's missed has been ridiculous. But for me, the main one I put down was right mid.
Yeah.
Left mid, obviously got McNeil, but right mid they got good. Is it? I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah.
Goodmanson. That he's awful. Like he's not a winger. He's got hardly any pace, no creativity. They definitely need to find someone like a winger. Like I said, I would look into put him potentially on loan Harvey Elliott.
Yeah.
I know obviously Liverpool. Do you think Liverpool put him out on loan again? He's done fantastic.
So. He's only like 16, isn't he? So I can't see him like having to desperately hold on to him. I think if anything, they'd be better off sending him on loan, because they want him to get constant minutes to sort of bring out his full potential. So I think, and especially because it'll be another step up, wouldn't it? Because he's played at Blackburn, who's a Championship, I think, maybe League One. But now if he gets sort of go at a lower league Prem team, then it will again give him that chance to improve his level. So I think that's
just a wage packet. It's just a wage packet for me. I think. Well, I reckon. I know he's only young, but he's at a big club. I reckon he's on a fair amount. Yeah, compared to if you think, see people at Burnley are probably on about 20 grand a week, and he's probably like, I think he's 17, 18, and he's probably not far off that already.
Yeah, that's true.
So they really want to put that much money into a youngster that they're...
It's a big risk, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a big risk, but I think it could be one that could pay off.
What I'm quite surprised about with Burnley is that I think they have the sort of model of like Chris Wood up front, which I'm surprised they don't sign. Like, I know it's like a specific player who's very unique, who you can't necessarily just replicate easily, but they almost need a player quite similar to like Adama Traore, who maybe isn't going to score very often, but if you give him the ball, he's just going to beat his man, not necessarily with skill, just get round him with pace and then put a ball into the back post.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where Burnley struggled, because you said Goodmanson's got no pace, and to be fair to McNeil, he's got a good ball on him, but he doesn't have much pace either. And I think maybe that's where they've struggled, because neither of their fullbacks are quick either, so they've not really got that ability to beat their man quickly and just sort of jab a ball into the box, which is what someone like Chris Wood or Ashley Barnes could do with. And maybe like if they could get a right mid who's a bit like Adama, maybe not in this exactly Adama Traore because that's impossible, but someone who's got that pace where they're literally going to get the ball, knock it as far on to the byline as possible and just put it in the box. And
Yeah,
if they do
definitely.
it 5-10 times a game, then Burnley will score virtually every game. And I think it's a bit like Wolves with Jimenez, and I think that's what could really help Burnley, I think, if they were to do something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're definitely lacking that pace. I see when they're not really able to counter attack quickly, are they?
No.
So McNeil can definitely beat a player, but like you said, he hasn't got that sharp pace, which like Traore or someone like that has.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would definitely benefit them. So, I mean, I don't really, again, I can't suggest anyone because I can't really think of anyone who's got that really dynamic pace, but I mean, they could always take someone like Reece Nelson on loan. I mean, I don't know how well it works. I know he's not like necessarily a really hard working player, but they just need someone who's got a lot of pace and just tell him to just run down the line and cross it in every time and see how and that would probably benefit them quite a lot.
A player who I think has been, who I thought has shocked me, who's gone to Bundesliga, who could have done well in the Prem, is Damari Gray. I think he would have suited Burnley. I think
Yeah, I think maybe again with a run of games as well, he might have shown how
he
good he
hasn't.
really
Yeah,
is.
he hasn't had the chance. I don't think at this. I would say he hadn't had the chance. I think he's had the chance under Brendan Rodgers to be able to prove it.
Yeah, because it's hard really, because a lot of players they might have played like 1 or 2 games, not shown it, and then they don't really get a chance again. And then you
Yeah,
see it like sort of like Danny Ings, he was at Liverpool, didn't really get his chance, so never got a chance to show it. And the second he's gone to Southampton, he looks like a player, maybe not Liverpool level, but if he'd have been playing for Liverpool when he played for Liverpool, he would have been good enough to be their main player. Um, so I think, like I said, some players just need to run of games and they can show how good they really are. But
yeah, I agree.
yeah, so that's the 5 teams we've got for this video. Obviously, we're going to go through every team in the league in the sort of the same fashion. And I think it's better if we split it over a couple of videos rather than all in one, because it'll just be too long of a video. So anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you for listening and watching. Uh, and we'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.